Empire, we are showing you that new video and what people who live in the area saw and heard.
Plus, more breaking news. The man who led the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election has died. How President Trump is responding.
And hundreds of animals rescued from a property in Lake Hughes. The new information from Animal Control on their conditions and the call for help from shelters across the county.
NBC4 News at 5 starts with breaking news.
But we're going to begin with breaking news out of North Hollywood, where a police pursuit just ended. Brian Williams is in News Chopper 4 with more. Brian.
Yes, this pursuit just came to an end here in the San Fernando Valley, where this armed suspect was initially armed and wanted by police, led them on a chase on the 5 freeway and then on Van Owen, but now is being taken into custody here in the valley. Back to you all in the studio.
All right, so that pursuit ended. Again, an armed suspect there in the valley. We want to move on to more breaking news happening this time out of Redlands. A police pursuit caught on video and a rough arrest that followed. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ivara.
And I'm Jonathan. We are now hearing Amber Frias is live with that video and reaction. Amber.
Hey, Camilla, Kathy. Well, that pursuit came to an end right here on Lalania Avenue and University Street, right where you see that yellow fire hydrant behind me. Now, we believe it may have started in Colton, being that Colton PD was involved, but we don't know yet what may have led to the pursuit. We do have video of the arrest at the end of the pursuit to show you, but we do want to warn you, it may be difficult to watch. Now, in the video, you can see 3 officers over one man who is partly still inside the driver's seat. One officer is seen holding him down, while another one hits him with his baton. Moments later, that same officer is seen kneeing him as the 2 other officers hold him down. We spoke with neighbors in the area who say they saw the pursuit, but not the arrest. They told us the car being pursued came through the neighborhood twice and that officers used a pit maneuver twice before they were able to get the car to stop. Neighbors say at least 1 car was damaged in the pursuit. Some neighbors we spoke with told us they were not surprised the pursuit ended right here in their neighborhood. They say many drivers use their neighborhood as a shortcut to get through.
They don't obey the speed limit and the stop sign there. Don't obey the stop sign. They keep running it.
And we have reached out to Colton, Redlands, and San Bernardino PD, who was also seen in the video, for comment on the officer's behavior, again captured in that video, and also for more information into what led to this pursuit, but we have not heard from them yet. Reporting live from Redlands, Amber Frias, NBC4 News.
Thank you. We have more breaking news right now. Robert Mueller, the long-serving FBI director who later became the special counsel overseeing the 2016 Russia election interference investigation, has died at the age of 81. Mueller's family announcing the news while asking for privacy. It is unclear how he died, but last year Mueller's family told the New York Times he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2021. Mueller was chosen as FBI director just days before the 9/11 terror attacks. He served in the role under President George W. Bush and Barack Obama, becoming the second longest serving FBI director in the agency's history. He stepped down in 2013. In 2017, he was appointed special counsel to investigate possible Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Then in 2019, he released a report concluding Russia did interfere in the election. But his investigation did not find a criminal conspiracy with the Trump campaign. It did lead to dozens of indictments, guilty pleas, and convictions. But those did not include the president himself. In 2020, Mueller defended his decision not to indict President Trump, citing Justice Department guidelines prohibiting him from doing so. Today, President Trump responded to his death on Truth Social, writing, quote, "Robert Mueller just died. Good. I'm glad he's dead. He could no longer hurt innocent people."
More breaking news in the ongoing government shutdown. President Trump says he is ordering ICE agents to airports on Monday to improve safety. The number of TSA agents has dropped dramatically since they started going without pay. The president doubling down on Truth Social this just hours ago. He first posted the warning early this morning. The exact airports and the number of agents is still unclear right now. The president did say the agents will be at airports until lawmakers reach a funding deal. Today, Republicans blocked a Democrat-led standalone bill to fund TSA. More than 400 TSA officers have quit since the shutdown began last month. Some airports like JFK, Philly, and Newark are seeing TSA staffing drop 25 to 30%. Today, billionaire Elon Musk says he would be willing to pay TSA salaries in the meantime.
And we're tracking new developments in the war in the Middle East. Iran now attempting to show its long-range missile capabilities with new strikes today. It fired 2 missiles on a joint U.S. and British base in the Indian Ocean. Neither were successful. The base is more than 2,000 miles from Tehran. Yesterday, President Trump said that he is considering winding down the war, but more Marines, Navy sailors, and warplanes are headed there now. And the impact is certainly hitting your gas budget. Take a look. The current average is now well above $5.50 a gallon. That is up more than $1 from before when the war began.
Now to the devastating flooding in Hawaii. Officials say 5,500 people are in serious danger after 2 powerful storms in 1 week. Early this morning, people in the hardest hit areas were told to leave now. On Oahu, a dam built 120 years ago is at risk of failing. And because the ground is so saturated, many roads could also give way. And this is already being considered Hawaii's worst flooding in 20 years. Oahu will remain under a flood watch through tomorrow.
Turning now to the weather here in Southern California. Here's a live look at Catalina Island. Another hot day across Southern California, but it actually feels a little more comfortable. Let's find out. Meteorologist Stephanie Olmos here with your first alert forecast.
Yeah, finally some relief from the extreme heat that we've been dealing with for the past many days. We had the extreme heat warnings and heat advisories that expired here last night. But you step outside, it's still pretty warm. Yes, temperatures are still running above normal for this time of year. We have numbers currently in the mid to upper 80s in spots like West Covina, Ontario, Riverside, currently at 91 in San Bernardino. 88 in Van Nuys, but areas along the coast were certainly feeling much cooler. Look at the temperatures right now in the low to mid 60s out that way. So just in general, we are seeing much cooler temperatures now compared to this time yesterday in some areas, even over 10 degrees cooler now compared to just 24 hours ago. Right now, I know it's hard to believe, but this is LAX. It is foggy out there, okay? So we're still dealing with some foggy conditions in spots along the coast. We're dealing with visibility less than 2 miles at the moment. So some areas along the coast, even around the coast of Ventura County, we're still dealing with some foggy conditions. It's a complete different story inland where we're looking at mostly sunny skies. Stay tuned. We'll talk about how things are looking as we head into this new work week coming up here shortly. For now, back to you, ladies.
All right, Stephanie, thanks so much. We are following you details on this massive animal rescue operation at a home in Lake Hughes yesterday. Animal Control says many of the animals were in crates without water. And today we have learned just how many animals were taken there. NBC4's Tracy Leong joins us live now with that update and the next steps for some of these animals. Tracy.
Yeah, Camilla, we are here at the Best Friends LA Adoption Center. They are one of the many organizations trying to help the LA County Department of Animal Care and Control. We do have video of that large-scale animal rescue that happened on Friday. Let's take a look. Now, originally, it was estimated there were about 700 animals, but that number is now closer to 300. This was in Lake Hughes, the northern part of LA County. County officials say they rescued 232 dogs, 66 cats, 1 rabbit, 1 goose, 1 parrot, 2 goats, and 1 pig. Neighbors had complained of frequent barking and strong odors coming from the property for years. County animal care officials say the property owners operate a nonprofit animal rescue organization and took in more animals than they could properly care for. NBC LA spoke with a woman who lives on the property who said she takes care of the animals and says they're healthy. The animals were kept in crates, some without adequate water, authorities said, and the animals were being examined at the site veterinary staff. Those requiring emergency medical care were transported to veterinary hospitals. Others were going to be taken to animal care centers for evaluation and care. Now here live, we are in West LA at the LA Best Friends Adoption Center. They're hoping to clear space to make room for the animals from Lake Hughes. Joining me now is Elizabeth Orrick. Elizabeth, you have an urgent call to the public of why you want them to help clear your center to help out these animals from Lake Hughes.
Exactly. So the more space we can create in our facility, the more room we have to help pull animals from the Department of Animal Care and Control so animals and properly care for them.
What can people do at home, if they're watching? We know a lot of animal shelters are at capacity right now. So what can the public do?
The public can step up to help with that by fostering, adopting, volunteering, donating, but really fostering and adopting is the greatest way to bring an animal into your home, into your family, and create space for animals that need to get out of the shelter and foster. Fun. It's a short-term commitment. It gives the shelters like ours a lot of information about those animals, what they like, what they don't like, how they are in a home, and that helps us build a really good portfolio of information for potential adopters.
Okay, and just really quickly, this is Lenore. She's available. How can people get in touch? What are your hours?
Yeah, so this is Lenore. She's a 2-year-old Siberian Husky mix. She came from the LA County shelter in Palmdale, and la.org and learn all about her and how to meet her. We're open every single day from 11 to 7.
Elizabeth, thank you so much. County officials have not yet said when the animals who were rescued from Lake Hughes will be adopted because there is a court process they need to go through. Reporting live in West LA, Tracy Lingong, NBC4 News.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Well, people in Monrovia gathered today to honor a bear that they believe was wrongly euthanized this week. The mother bear had been responsible for 2 attacks in the area. Neighbors held a walk and a vigil this morning to honor the bear they called Blondie. Video shared with NBC4 shows her in a backyard of a Monrovia home on Oakley Drive last weekend. She had been living underneath the home with her 2 cubs for weeks. But on Saturday, she scratched a woman who was out walking her dog. And last year, she clawed a man on his porch.
Something where there's a program where we can relocate them further away into natural habitat would be so ideal. It breaks my heart that euthanasia was an instant answer for this bear because she was a beloved bear in our neighborhood.
We all need to do our part in understanding wildlife and educating ourselves and trying not to harm our wildlife as much as possible.
Wildlife experts tell us Blondie was most likely acting on instinct to protect her babies. Her cubs are now in a wildlife rehabilitation facility, and when they're old enough, they will be released back into their natural habitat.